Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. What is today? Today's Sunday. Wow. Okay, so first things first. Kitchen is about 98% done, which is fantastic news, at least for me, because then I can concentrate more on doing the analysis here for you guys and getting more into some of the details on it as well. So that's a good thing going forward. Also, we should be going back to like the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock time frame for doing these live streams going forward, because I can do a lot of the stuff that I have left, which is like minimum on the weekends. So that's going to help out tremendously here. But what are we talking about today? We're talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down right now. Miners were down on Friday as well. What else do we have here? Cleanspark, we're going to talk about them. We're also going to take a look at the latest enterprise metrics for the miners, which ones are the most undervalued, which ones are the most overvalued right now. And we'll also take a look at the weekly numbers for the miners compared to Bitcoin as well. So it should be a pretty fun show. And then we'll get into you guys' Q&A at the end as well. But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is my financial advice, not my financial advice, sorry. Not financial advice, for him only. Do your own research. My full disclosure down below. Hit the like button if you like this type of content. Subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin really quick right now, because it is down on the, well, it was down today on Sunday. It's also down on the new day as well. So we couldn't hold this support here at 61,000. We did fall below it today. I'm wondering if it's, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there's some concern, or at least there's some news about Ukraine's nuclear power plant. That one of the cooling towers is on fire. From what I've heard, that was they were burning tires in there. I mean, how stupid can you be to burn tires in that thing? But that's possibly what's going on there. That's the one that's controlled by, I believe, Russia. So I don't know if that's having an impact on it. Also with Israel and Iran getting into it, maybe. Israel's in high alert. I wonder if that's causing Bitcoin to fall down as well. Those are the type of things that I've been just kind of reading today on what's going on here. Maybe that is having an impact on it. I'm not certain 100% on it. But Bitcoin's down nonetheless here. We do have a gap here forming on the CME futures on it. And let me see here. Yep, there's a gap here. So you can see here where we closed on Friday, where we are on Monday now. We do have a little bit of a gap here. Not big of a gap, but last time we had a gap on the CME futures where it was on the downside of things. Where was it? It was going back quite a ways here. It was right here. So we did have a little gap here as well, right? This was back in August here of 2020. Wow, we're going back that far, of last year. And then look at what happened after that. It took a while. It took roughly from August 18th all the way through October, which is kind of funny that it's happening right now also. It's kind of like repeating almost. We're at August, what are we at? August 10th right now. August 11th. So what if this plays out the same way going forward, where we might trade sideways, up and down a little bit here, but then after that, we have a nice rally here starting in October. So something to be mindful of, something to think about going forward on that. I thought that was kind of interesting to take a look at that as well on it, but you can see Bitcoin is down today. It was down approximately 3.63%, and on the new day, we're down approximately 0.41%. So given where we are right now with Bitcoin, I do believe that the miners will probably fall some more tomorrow, based on just what we're seeing here right now, unless Bitcoin really starts going back up here to retest the 61,000 mark. But right now, I'm expecting it to maybe fall back down to the 57,500 mark, somewhere around there, to test the next resistance or support level, and then we'll see if they can hold that and bounce from there going forward. So we'll keep an eye on it, see where it goes. But right now, the miners, as you guys know, on Friday that wasn't too bad of a day. They were down for the most part. There were only, two that were up in the green. Everybody else was down on the day. Cleanspark also came out with their results for their Q3 or Q2 numbers. And the reason for the delay was that they are working with a new accounting firm. And I guess they were delayed a little bit here. So, but we do have some stuff to get into there as well. So why don't we do that? I mean, we kind of covered where everything else is at. Let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick on it if we can. Let's see, those are fees. Network hash rate really quick. We haven't done this in a while. Let's see, where are we at right now. On the 7-day average, we are back down to 611 exahash on the 7-day average. If we look at the 30-day average, which is what I like to use here, it is back to 624 exahash, which is that the all-time high? The all-time high was about 625. So we're close to that. Things are starting to rebound here as more and more of the efficient miners are getting plugged in, which is kind of what we expected. We did have a little bit of a dip here, not as much as one we would have hoped, to really flush out some of the older miners that are still mining and hashing away. But we did get a dip here, and Bitcoin price being where it's at, it's going to probably contribute to some more of the older generation miners being unplugged going forward here. All right, so that is it on that. Let's take a look at the story that we do have here on Cleanspark really quick. So Cleanspark, as you guys know, reported on Friday the third quarter fiscal year 2024 financial results. And they had some big write-downs there, and we'll get into it here a little bit. But you guys, I'm sure, already read all this stuff here. But Cleanspark, they determined to replace a substantial portion of their fleet before the miners reached the end of their original expected life cycle. So originally they thought the life cycle for the miners was going to be about 5 years. It's actually 3 years for like air-cooled machines. You might be able to squeeze out 5 years out of immersion-cooled, but with the huge increases that we're seeing in efficiencies and everything else, it seems like even those may only last maybe 3 years before you really start having to think about swapping out the immersion-cooled miners as well. So although that decision has generated a non-cash expense, the negatively affects our reported operating results for this quarter. Yeah, it was quite a substantial one. So they changed the way that they are writing those down. And then here we continue to have one of the strongest balance sheets in the industry. And as a result, I'm happy to announce that we have now entered into a partnership with Coinbase, where we have acquired $15 million revolving line of credit collateralized by a portion of our Bitcoin holdings. This line of credit will help us to continue to take advantage of opportunities in the marketplace at a low cost of capital. So those are all good things here. They did report that they are getting newer miners as well. Approximately 26,000 of those. 13 of those are supposed to be delivered in October. 13,000 are in November as well. They get them to 26,000 of those. Those are the latest S21 XP immersion miners. So based on that information, I'm not certain exactly what the joules per terahash efficiency is on those. This one here that's on Bitmain's website right now is the Bitcoin miner S21 immersion. It's not the XP, but that one is at 16 joules per terahash at 239 terahash per miner and about 3,800 watts. When we look at the numbers that I have for them, what I did, and we'll go through that. I just don't have the latest numbers on the latest one. They have the S21 XP Hydro, which is 473 terahash, but the 26,000 that they purchased to get to the 7.8 exahash, those have to be at 300 terahash miners. So I'm not certain that these are the ones here. I think there's ones, the XP's immersion ones, that are missing from this list. And those, I'm guessing, are like, what did I have those at? I believe I had those at 3850 watts at 300 terahash. That gets us to like 13, I think it was 13 joules per terahash, something. 13 or 12. We'll take a look at it. But that's going to be interesting as well. I'll give you guys my thoughts on that going forward. And then here's the numbers here. Let's see here. As of April 2024, as a result of Bitcoin halving event and the execution of the 100,000 miner purchase option for the new Bitmain and miner S21 Pros, company concluded that various models of the S19J, S19J Pros, and the S19J Pros Plus would be removed from the service and replaced with newer miners. They still have a bunch of the S19 XPs or Pro XPs. I left those in my sheets because they did not include this in this release here. So those are going to stay. With more efficient miners, let's see, the planned replacement is expected to be completed in December of this year, at the end of December. Accordingly, the company performed an impairment test. I'm not sure. I don't get this part. Impairment test? How? The company performed an impairment test on the miners planned for replacement, resulting in an impairment charge of $189 million, right? That's kind of what we're talking about, that charge there, which is recorded on the condensed consolidated statement of operations and a comprehensive loss and impairment expense fixed assets. The fair value less residual value of the impaired miners will depreciate over the remaining period in which they are operating. So they switch it. Yeah, they go on to saying it here. Effective May 1st, as a result of new information about actual lives of its Bitcoin miners based on historical experience and advancements in overall miner efficiency, the company has reduced the useful lives of miners from 5 years to 3 years. The impact of change is in useful lives of the miners from 5 to 3 years, increased depreciation expense, and loss before income taxes expenses of $7.2 million for the 3 months ended June 30th and 2024, and decreased basis on diluted earnings per share 3 cents and 4 cents. Let's see here. The total depreciation expense for the 9 months, okay, I don't care about that. But they did change the way that they are valuing those, which I think is a much better way. But it's also a non-cash expense, but it does definitely bring down their earnings per share. So if you look at non-GAAP measures, things look a lot better. But when you look at GAAP measures, then they do look pretty bad here. Let's see. What else do I have here? The miners. Oh, That's what I was going to show you guys. The other part of the miners that they purchased here. Or is it at purchase Bitcoin miners? Let's see. Bitmain. Was that it here? The only bad thing about the SEC website is I can't highlight here for some reason, which makes it kind of tough to pay attention to what's going on here. Those are not it. Let's see. I believe, here we go. Bitmain purchase contract. On August 7th, so just a couple of days before, the press release came out for the quarterly results. The company entered into a future sales and purchase agreement with Bitmain Technologies Delaware Bitmain for the purchase of Bitcoin mining hardware. The agreement provides the purchase of 26,000 units of S21 XP immersion servers. Right, I didn't call those the Hydro ones, so they're different types, with a total hash rate of 7.8 exahash at a purchase price of 167 million, representing $21.50 per terahash. So it's a little bit higher than what they've been paying for, but still not bad. They were paying around $14, $16 per terahash in the past, but these are probably more efficient, higher hash rate. So I guess that kind of makes sense there. The FSPA agreement also grants the company a call option to purchase 50,000 additional units of the S21 XP immersion servers with a maximum rated hash rate of 15 exahash. Price of $322 million, representing $21.5, same price. Those would be, let's see, July until the call option is exercisable from a date of the agreement until July 26 of next year. To secure this option, the company will pay a non-refundable call purchase fee of $32 million, which is 10% of the total amount. So they're basically putting a down payment on it as well. And then the initial 26,000 units are scheduled to be delivered in 2 batches of 13,000 in October and November, and that's what I have in my spreadsheet here. So why don't we get into that, and we'll go through all the details that we do have here on Cleanspark. There was one other thing. Let me see if I can find it here. Was it? Okay. At the market equity issuance. So from July 1st to through August 8th, which is when they reported their financial results, the company issued another 9.9 million shares roughly under the March 2024 ATM amendment, offering a facility resulting in net proceeds of approximately 214 million at that point. So I don't have this number here. I have the number that's on top here, which is 20, what is it? Oh gosh, gotta go way up. It is over here. Sorry for the scrolling amount. 248 million here. So I will add this into it right now. Let's do that because I think that's going to be a fair way to value them going forward. What else do we have here? Line of credit, Bitmain Technologies. Let's see, Bitmain purchase at the market offering. So let me copy that, and we'll add it to the number that I have here right now. Okay, so there's the number that we have, and here's all the details for it. We'll do that. We'll add in that number as well. There we go. Let's see if this is going to work. Hopefully this works. So this is the total number of shares outstanding as of their reporting. 258 million shares. Market cap brings them up to 2.9 billion right now. Stock price as of Friday was 11.46. Their performance of the last 12 weeks has not been great at all. It's been, I mean, they're down 28% from 12 weeks ago. They're down 35 from 8 weeks ago. They're 27 down from 4 weeks ago. And last week they were actually down almost 15% on it. Okay. Current hash rate, 21. They stated they are 22 exahash right now as of the report. Future hash rate, I have them at 55. That's taking out all of the old SPs all the way through the 140 terahash miners. I left those alone, but everything up to that has been taken out. Going down here, let's see, last 4 quarters revenue here. They peaked in revenue in Q2 with 111 million. They're down a little bit here in Q3, 104 million. Current quarter, I'm estimating about 93 million, depending where Bitcoin goes, network hash rate, how many miners they get installed. That's kind of where we're at right now as of this time frame. Last 4 quarters operating costs minus depreciation have been increasing here. So 74.93 million here. They're getting more machines installed. That kind of makes sense that cost would be going up as well with that. The cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation came in at 28.5 thousand for them. And then Bitcoin mine quarterly peaked here in Q2. They're down in Q1 to 1.5, but that's after the halving event, which is kind of expected as well. Debt to equity lower is better. That's gotten better as time has gone on, so that's good here. Current ratio still really good at 8.9, meaning they can pay off their debt about 9 times over with their current cash on hand as well. Total current assets went down a little bit here. That's mainly based on the revaluation of Bitcoin and their HODL position. So that's down to 598 million here from the 687 million that they had. Total current liabilities still pretty low, 66.9, so 67 million roughly on that one. And let's take a look at the numbers down here. We'll get into these metrics here in a second here. We talked about the current assets already, that's down a little bit as well. Total assets did decrease here a little bit to 1.4 billion from 1.5 billion. Total current liabilities also, let's see, went up a little bit from 66 to 55. Total liabilities at 73, so it actually decreased from the 74 that they had there. And then total liabilities and stockholder equity, it went down a little bit here to 1.4 from 1.5 billion. Revenues, 104 million, 108,000. I think we came pretty close to that, or I think I came pretty close to that. Let me go back up here. Sorry about the scrolling. Just want to go through here. Yeah, I'm at 104 million and 12,000. So I was off by 0.09% on it, on the revenue. So pretty happy with that part. Okay, going down here. What else do we have here? Cost of revenues, 45 million. So that's increased, but they installed quite a bit more hash rate as well. So that makes sense. Professional fees went pretty much double here. I'm not sure why that is. I wonder if that's part of their M&A. That's been going on here recently. So that's 4.3 million instead of 2.2. Payroll expenses went up a little bit here to 17.1 million from 16.8. So that's not too bad. General administrative expenses also went up to 8.2 from 6.8. And that went up a little bit more. I mean, but it has been going up on it. So not sure about that one. What else do we have here? Again, on fair value of Bitcoin. So they were actually able to take that as a negative number last quarter, right, which helped them decrease their costs on everything. They had to increase that this time around, which hurt them on the long run. What else do we have here? Impairment expense other. So that's a new one here. That's 396 million. Wow. Yeah. Other impairment expense fixed assets. That's the one that they had the writing down the miners there. 189 million. And what else do we have here? Depreciation amortization went up a little bit as well to 40 million instead of 32 million here. So cost of revenue went up to 353 million based on these two things here, really, that give them quite the run for the money here, really. And then compared to the negative 25 back here in Q2. Going down here, operating expenses. What else do we have here? That was kind of major. Nothing really. Total other income was 3.3 compared to 1.2. Income loss before taxes was negative 245 million compared to a positive 138 million on it. That was really helpful because they took advantage of the FSB rules, and they were actually pretty lean at that point. But this definitely hurts, and didn't have as many write-downs on the miners at that point either. All right, going down here. Basic, they were down $1.03 per share, and this is based on 228 million shares. And then prior quarter, they were actually in the positive. Last two quarters, they were actually in the positive. So this is the first one that they had here as a negative, but a lot of it is contributable to the miners being depreciated much faster as well. Even if we take out the FSB stuff and things like that, compensation, they're still down 147 million from there. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at with it. Going up here to the numbers, cost by Bitcoin was 192,000. If we include depreciation in there, right, pretty huge compared to 46 million that they had in Q2. Then if we take out depreciation, we're down to 28, so that's more reasonable there. Talked about debt to equity, current ratio, we talked about that. Book value of equity assets, 1.4 million, down a little bit from the 1.46. Price to book ratio is at 2.1, so that actually increased a little bit from prior quarter. Enterprise value also increased 2.4 from 2.2 billion, and then EBITDA came in at negative 208 million compared to a positive 169. EV to EBITDA was a negative 11 now. Debt to EBITDA was negative 0.35 there. Looking at the revenues here and general administrative comparison, they're up to 24% of their general administrative plus payroll, all that stuff. So that's gone up a little bit. I thought they were maybe heading towards the other direction here, going under 20%, which I would have liked to see. So I don't like seeing this. I would like to see them below 20%, ideally below even 10% if possible. General administrative expense accounted for about 7.19% if you just look at that without the compensation in there as well. So that's gone up a little bit as well. Shares did dilute by about 8.8% from the time they reported, but for the first quarter. But they have since also used the ATM as well. Overall, it wasn't a bad quarter. Just had a lot of write-downs that are non-cash based. So overall, it wasn't too bad, all things considered. But yeah, those write-downs definitely hurt the EPS numbers for us. All right, going over here. So based on the numbers that they reported for the miners, like I said, they're buying 26,000 of these. I'm guessing those are the 300 terahash miners. That's going to get them about 7.8 exahash if you combine those two. And then I took out a bunch of these machines here. The 100 terahash, I already took out some of the other ones here as well. But I'm guessing based on all of that, they would get them to about 55 exahash here with 264,000 machines roughly, give or take a couple of thousand. And that would get us to approximately efficiency of 14.5 roughly. If these newer machines that they are buying are at 3,850 watts per machine, that gets them to about 12.8 joules per terahash per machine at that point, compared to the 15 joules per terahash that they're getting right now with the S21 Pros. So that would be definitely a nice improvement there on it. But big question is, where are they going to put 26,000 of these machines into immersion cooling to go with that? It's one thing when you put them into a warehouse where it's racks. You can put, depending on the size of the racks, how tall they are. I mean, you can put probably, I don't know, 50 to maybe 70 some odd machines into a rack, depending on how dense you are. With immersion cooling, you're now looking at, instead of being like a 3D or not a 3D, what am I talking about? Where you can stack them up higher, right? With immersion cooling, you're basically looking at more, you need more square footage for the same amount of terahash, basically. So if you get an immersion cooling unit, a tank, what can you put in there? Maybe 20 to 30 Bitcoins at that point. We saw that with Riot's immersion cooling. Unless they get Olympic-sized pools to put these things into, I don't know where they're going to put them all in. That's one of the questions here. So are they in talks with other parties to buy them out potentially that have the possibilities to do this? Because that is a lot of machines to install here. So something I may do is on Monday is reach out to maybe Matt or, I'm drawing a blank on their chief mining officer. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank right now. But you guys know, Tyler. I may reach out to them to see where can they put those things in at. Because right now, all of their sites are pretty much set for air cooling, except for the one that they have in Georgia right now, which is, I believe, their only facility that they have immersion cooling in there. And it's also very small. So a little surprised by this move going forward, mainly because I just don't know where they're going to put them in right now, unless they're going to be building out or something like that. But you got quite a build out to do in that time frame. If they're coming in on October and November, and they're going to be getting those things installed by December sometime, you need to, what do we have now? You got basically, we're halfway through August already. So you got partially August, September. You don't have a lot of time there. So I wonder if something's going to be in the works for that, or if I'm missing something. If you guys know any details on grid infrastructure that they purchase, if there's anything in there that's immersion cooling, or, I don't know, the Wyoming sites, any of those could be immersion cooling as well, but can you actually get that many machines in there? I gotta do some more digging into that one overall, okay? But that's kind of what we have here. It wasn't as great of a quarter as we thought it was going to be, but still not that bad. They did increase here our kind of price targets for them a little bit here based on the latest numbers that we do have for the current quarter, which I believe we're using the actual numbers here. Yeah, so we're using the June numbers, March numbers, and December numbers for the 3 quarters. And we're using also the current quarter, which is estimated for them. And I have them between 1484 and 2226. They are at 1146 right now. Even if we use just the last month numbers for revenue, multiply times 12, I'm between 1441 and 2162. They're definitely way undervalued here from where they really should be. I guess with this report, I guess I have more questions than I do have answers, unfortunately. But I'll see if I can maybe reach out, like I said, to either Matt Schultz or Tyler as well on there to see what's going on with where are they going to be putting those things into. That's just the question I have right now. But that's it. But I still see a lot of good stuff happening for them. Big thing for them is having the infrastructure and the facilities and everything else to get to the 35 exahash they want to get to this year. But man, if you're getting those machines in this year, you really want to get those things plugged in. Just like the rest of the machines that they do have coming in as well. They have all of these machines scheduled to come into this year to get to 55 exahash. Where are they going to be putting all this stuff in? One thing I would hate to see for them is to be sitting around with a bunch of miners that aren't being plugged in because you don't have the infrastructure to put them into. especially if they're being delivered, unless the delivery schedules are being altered to where they're now more into 2025. I haven't heard that either. So that's another question there that I have. But as you guys know, I'm still bullish on Cleanspark. I've been bullish on them for, gosh, now 2.5, almost 3 years, I guess you could say. And they've been really disappointed. A couple of times they disappointed, but it wasn't major disappointments on it. So we'll see where they go. It's definitely going to be an interesting couple of months here, I guess, with the year almost getting close. I mean, yeah, gosh, we're 3.5 months away from the year. Is it 3.5? We're in August. You got September, October, November, December. You have 4.5 months roughly left to go. Okay. So that's it for Cleanspark. We'll get into your guys' questions if you have any, and then let's take a look at, what do I want to take a look at here? Oh, market cap really quick. We'll take a look at that really quick. Here's how things stack up now with market caps for Amara still being number one here with 5 billion, Cleanspark with 2.9, almost 3 billion, Core at 2.5. Everybody else down below here going downwards. And then let's take a look at really quick the enterprise value, and then we'll get into weekly really quick, and we'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things as well. Where's my enterprise metrics? There they are. Okay. So here's the latest data that we have on them. As things, I probably should fix this here really quick. Cleanspark going down here because I updated the number of shares. Let's see, ascending. There we go. Let's do this one ascending as well, just to fix anything that was there. Okay, there we go. So latest numbers on this that we do have here, and this is based on, let me see here. Core, Bitfarms, Riot, Cleanspark, and Marathon all reporting the latest quarter numbers. The other miners still dealing with the old number of shares out there and an old enterprise value, basically based on those number of shares. But here's what we have right now. If looking at the way things are, you can see that Hive is still the most undervalued, but there's reasons for it. I keep saying that there's reasons for why Hive is undervalued. It's just they're not as ambitious to grow their hash rate. They want to maintain the 1%, so that's kind of why they are where they are. Riot, on the other hand, Riot is ambitious. Riot wants to be like the top miner here. They're being valued like they're going out of business at 64 million per exahash right now, followed by Bitfarms at 86 million. Then you got Iris at 113, Cleanspark 116 million. These guys are definitely being less valued currently for the current hash rate that they have compared to like somebody like Hut 8, which has like really no growth plans for their self-mining. They're using, gosh, 3-4 years, if not older, machines that are operating there, very inefficient, and they're being valued like crazy. I think for them, it's more on the HPC AI possibility of a business, because it does seem like they are transitioning more into a managed company, managed services company for other miners, hosting as well, things like that. But their self-mining is definitely not up to par here to be valued so high. TeraWulf, I think TeraWulf is also getting a little bit of a premium here on their HPC potential that they have with the facility being close to a lake there. So I think that's what's happening there. Marathon, I think, is being pretty fairly valued right now based on what they have, their growth plan this year, even their hash rate values, or their hash rate is at like, 31 exahash right now. So they're definitely top miners, so I would expect them to get a little bit of a premium there. BitDeer, also pretty high, I think. That one is more of a future potential with them in 2025, 2026. Cypher being valued pretty high as well. But these guys over here, like I said before, Cleanspark, Iris, Bitfarms, Riot, should be probably valued higher than some of these guys here, especially like Hut 8, TeraWulf, BitDeer, Cypher, Core, I think should be probably even higher on that as well. But then when we look at the future hash rate, where they are now compared to where they're going to be in the future, you can see that Hive is still the least valued on it. Riot even comes down even more to 37 million per exahash. Iris comes down to 40 million. Cleanspark comes down to 44 million as well. Bitfarms 46, Marathons, right? These are like the top miners here, and they're being valued much, much less than some of these guys that are not doing quite as well going forward. TeraWulf, BitDeer, Core, I think, doesn't have much growth now, but they are planning to install more hash rate. Digital, same thing. They got an HPC business, Hut 8, right? Those guys should be down further probably on the list here, lower end side of things. So these are the ones definitely that I want to get into, because I do believe that they are undervalued for their future hash rate going forward. So those are the ones that I would possibly look into more so than some of these other guys here, unless some of these other guys come out with a news story that's, one day they come out and go, we're increasing our hash rate by 20 exahash or something like that. Well, at that point, that definitely will help them out here. That would possibly put them down into the lower undervalued part of it. But it depends on where they're getting it or when they're installing those machines, whether it's later on this year or next year. I think that also has a pretty big impact on it as well. Okay, so that's it on enterprise value metrics really quick here. Let's take a look at the weekly, and we'll get into your guys' Q&A. So as always, we look at the 52 weeks, how far the miners have gone up in value from 52-week lows, and then how far away the miners are from their 52-week highs. So as you can see here, recently, TeraWolf has been leading the pack here, being up 325% in the last 52 weeks from its bottom, followed by Core now at 271%, and now Cleanspark at 239% as well. And you got BitDeer, IREN, Bitfarms, and Bitcoin's at 144%. So all of those guys have outperformed Bitcoin in the last 52 weeks from their bottoms. Marathon is now lagging, Hut 8, Cypher, Digital, Hive, and Riot. Riot, I don't know what's going on with Riot here. They have definitely been underperforming here tremendously in the last 52 weeks compared to the other miners. It's like, it almost seems like they're being treated like they're going out of business or something like that based on their performance. Yes, they've had problems with their operations in the past. Looks like those things are getting resolved. They're installing more and more hash rate. They shouldn't be as low as they are right now, I think. They should be probably closer to like gains where we would probably see like right around Bitfarms, IREN somewhere right around there with the growth they're having right now. But I think a lot of it is due on their operations. And can they get much better uptime at Corsicana and improve their operations uptime at Rockdale as well? That I think is going to be dependent on that. If they can do those things, at that point, I would expect the stock to do much better. If it doesn't do that, then I think it's just an overhang from them trying to buy out Bitfarms, which might mean that some investors are not in favor of it, potentially. All right, now going to the weekly performance here compared to Bitcoin here. The miners were kind of, I wouldn't say split, but they were definitely, there were some ups, some were down. Bitcoin was only down negative 1%, so Core outperformed BitDeer, Bitfarms, BitDigital, and TeraWolf all outperformed this past week Bitcoin. And then the miners that have underperformed are Marathon, Hut 8, Hive, Riot, Cypher, IREN, and Cleanspark being down the most here the last week. If we look at the 4 weeks chart, we can see that Bitcoin's down 9%. The only one that has outperformed Bitcoin is Core, being only down 4%. Everybody else here you can see along the lines is, not doing as well as Bitcoin here. Looking at the 8 weeks, Bitcoin's down 5%. The only ones that have outperformed it at that point is TeraWolf, BitDigital, Hut 8, Hive, it looks like, and that's it. So it's been a tough 8 weeks or so. And then if you look at back 12 weeks ago, things started looking up a little bit better here. Bitcoin's down 11%. So let's see here. Marathon underperformed it. Riot underperformed it. Cleanspark. Some of the bigger guys have underperformed Bitcoin, where some of the smaller guys have done much better here. With Core, doing really well. CORZ, obviously, because they have a huge contract with CoreWeave, so that's definitely helping them out. But you can see BitDeer's up 38, Bitfarms 30%, BitDigital up 43, TeraWolf up 94%, Hut 31%, Hive 18, Cypher up 6, IREN up 25. So it's definitely interesting to take a look at that. And then going down here, you can see the table as far as red days or red weeks and green weeks. We've had now pretty much 2 red weeks here in a row. Prior to that, we had roughly a mix between green and red. We had more green here. It looks like maybe a mix of red and green. But it's kind of interesting to take a look at that as well, on how that all plays out. Okay, so that's it. It'll be interesting to see once we get past the summer months, which I think are going to be much better for us and Bitcoin in general and the miners, given that we can go back to, where was it here on Bitcoin futures, right? Where we talked about the CME futures gap, where we have a gap here on today happening, which was right around the same time last year. And then we kind of went sideways, up a little bit, down a little bit. I mean, we bobbed up and down more so, but then in like October we started to take off here nicely. I'm wondering if we're going to see the same thing happening this year around. It's interesting that it's the same time frame in August that we're seeing this kind of gap down on the CME futures compared to when we usually get a gap up on it. Okay, so that's it. As always, you guys know the drill. My little sales pitch here. Patreon members get access to all my spreadsheets, all the metrics, all the charts, everything that I do, and that's $8 a month per month. Description for that is down in the description. Link is in the description down below. Wow. And then if you find a couple open spots at $5 or $4, jump on those because those are great discounts for you guys there. And then if you pay a month or yearly subscription, you get 10% off on top of that as well. Plus, you get access to all the Discord as well, which I got to start hopping on more than discussing there more. I've just been busy with the kitchen remodel, so that's coming to a close here, which is a good sign, which I can spend more time with you guys in chats and things like that, and replying to your guys' comments as well. But yeah, that's it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things, see where we end up later on this week. with everything else, it's definitely been it's been challenging the last couple of weeks. I would say a couple of months with Bitcoin coming down, miners as well. It hasn't been fun for sure. Okay, let's see what you guys have as far as questions. Okay. What do we got here? Okay, you guys are talking about Riot here with the ATM of 750 million. What did they already pull on the full 750 million that they had prior? I think, or was it 1 billion that they had? What did they do with that one? I got to look into that numbers there. Let's see. Barrow says even at 1146, Cleanspark in 12 months is up 249%. Not sure how you can be angry at this performance. Kind of ridiculous. I mean, depending on when you bought in. So if you bought in at a pretty good, if you bought in 12 months ago, yeah, you're probably sitting pretty happy. But if you bought in at, when was it, 22, 24, you might be a little bit upset right now. So I understand that. It all depends on timing when you got into it. But yeah. Let's see. Ryan says, Riot is one of the most experienced miners. People should not underestimate their technology immersion cooling systems. Yeah, I would agree with that. Their uptime, I will kind of contest there. It has been appalling, I guess you could say, at Rockdale at least with the miners. They've run into issues there. But I think they've learned from their mistakes, and I think they can do much better going forward. Miner Doc says, I don't understand Riot's ability to fleece executives with share-based compensation. Yeah, I'm not for that either. Don't like that. I think Jason said it was they used that to also, was it, part of that was also for, was it to buy block? Part of it was used on that? I don't know. I thought I heard something about that. Let's see. Jenny says, hi, Seb, thanks for putting all this together, all this great info on the miners. What do you think Riot plans to do with the new 750 million ATM? Well, they're going to probably try to buy more shares of Bitfarms, and they needed to also build out their Corsicana facility. So that's going to be what's mostly going to be used for that. They may use part of it also if they can buy out Bitfarms. They'll use part of it probably to pay a little bit in cash, and the rest will be in shares. Especially with Bitcoin price at 150,000, what price targets do you see on IREN and Cleanspark? At 150,000, that's kind of where I'm thinking my price targets were going to be at about $70 for. I'll have to run the numbers again, but with the more shares being out there, might be a little bit less, maybe like $68, $67 now for Cleanspark. And then we'll see what IREN comes in at with the number of shares that they have now. But IREN was going to be like $80 roughly at that point. My estimates are. That's probably going to be a little bit more north of 150,000, but I'm saying 150,000 to 200,000 is kind of where I was looking at. Looking good, Sebastian. Thank you. If you were to buy one miner right now, which one would you pick right now? Gosh, we'd have to probably look at the enterprise metrics and some other things to go about with it. Along with that, I don't think enterprise metrics say the whole story because there's other little nuances in each miner as far as why they are undervalued. And but just based on future hash rate, I mean, geez, I would have to. I mean, you could probably pick from any of those guys that are between 37 and 46 million right now per hour future hash rate, exahash. Riot I think is more undervalued than any of the other ones except for Hive. But Hive has issues, well, not really issues. They have ambitions. They don't have ambition. So that's the only thing I can see for Hive. That's why it's dragging there. I mean, Riot is definitely way under from where it should be. Riot might be a good play if they can fix their uptime at both Corsicana and, well, not really fix, but improve their uptime at Corsicana and fix the uptime at Rockdale. That should really help them out going forward. If they can't do that, well, then they deserve to be undervalued because of it, I think. Because you really need much better uptime for those machines to get paid off. Otherwise, you're being funded by investors the whole time. On it, and it becomes really tough. Okay, let's go back here. Let's see. Sour Melon Gaming says, I think I'm selling Riot this week. Hold at 524 average. Jason is terrible CEO and doesn't have shareholders' best interest in mind. I mean, you're still good. I know Riot's been beaten down, I wish I had a crystal ball to let you know that it's going to be up much higher, but I think it depends on their uptime on it. Okay, they canceled the old ATM out and started a fresh 100 million, so yay to more dilution. How much did they use of the old one? I'm surprised that they canceled it. Why couldn't they just, was it, they only have like a year on it or something? I'm not sure why that is. I'll have to look more into it. Let's see. Let's see what else we got here. Are you bullish or bearish on the Bitcoin and miners in the 2-month framing? 2-month framing. Oh gosh, I mean, if we have it where it just goes sideways, it's gonna be definitely painful for not only miners but for Bitcoin itself. So I wouldn't say overly like bullish hardcore. I would just say I'm kind of skeptical as to where things could go. I'd be happy if we just chop on the water here a little bit. As long as we don't dip any further on Bitcoin, I'd be happy with that. And then if we finally have a rally in October sometime, I'd be really happy with that. So I'm okay with us going sideways for a while. I wouldn't be too happy with us going down though. But I don't know which way we're going to go. Based on what I've seen in the past, if we have a repeat of last year like we just saw with the CME Bitcoin futures gap, well, then we might trade sideways, be a little choppy here for a while, and then we go. Let's see. Conservative price prediction of Bitfarms by the end of September. So if Bitcoin looks like it's going to be trading sideways here for at least another month or so, I would say they're going to be probably where they are. If not, they should be installing hash rate, but I think a lot of their hash rate growth is going to be in Q4 as well. Based on that, I would say they're going to be right where they are, more or less, unless something drastic happens at that point. So I wouldn't expect much. If Bitcoin's flat, they're going to be flat or down for the most part. Quick question, Sebastian. Do you think Canadian miners will be negatively impacted by not having FASB? Assuming BTC does 3 to 4x from here, will Canadian miners underperform even though they're more efficient? Well, Canadian miners are now, what do we have here? We got Bitfarms, Hive, DMG, Digihost. Who else is in that boat that I'm not aware of? Sato, I think, is Canadian also. But yeah, the only one that's got a major hodl there, other than Bitfarms has a little bit, about 1,000, and then Hive has like 2,000 something right now. So it's substantial, but it's not as much as some of the other miners. It's about a quarter or like 1/8 of what the other miners have. I mean, the FSB does help when Bitcoin price is going up from quarter to quarter, but it can also be painful when it's going down from quarter to quarter. I think the big thing for some of the Canadian miners, especially like Bitfarms and like Hive, some of the bigger ones, is they just got to grow as much as they can, efficiently as possible, and be as efficient as possible as they have been in the past. I mean, they have great operations, just not a lot of growth, with the exception of Bitfarms there. Bitfarms seems to be breaking out from those guys. What else we got here? What do you guess BTC will be by the end of the year? I think we'll be between 80 and 100,000 by the end of the year. If we have a nice rally in October, November, and into December a little bit, I think we will be somewhere between there, I would imagine. Divi makes a pretty good point here. The last time people were shifting big time on a miner, it was HUT. Look how that turned out. Keep shifting on Riot 2, please. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part, is what if something happens that's good for the miner and it takes off, but you shift it into another miner? That's why I don't really trade these things. I just get into the ones that I have high conviction in and hold on to them and buy dollar cost average into them when they're going down. I mean, so far it's been working out pretty good for me. Let's see. Para asks, also second question, please. Do you think 750 million Riot ATM is to extend a new offer for Bitfarms, maybe closer to $3? Even at $3, I think that's too low of a lowball offer. That's not going to get accepted, nowhere near that. Shareholders would never go through that, and you would have you would have a massive class action lawsuit from the shareholders at that point if it went through. Let's see. Ali says, was 278 million remaining when they replaced this owner? Okay, so they pulled 500 million of it roughly, and so they're getting a new one now. Okay. So seems like the standard here within the mining industry, more or less. see. Hi, so Bitfarms looking for a new CMO, so I think that is your chance. Love your work. Thank you. Yeah, no, I would not want to be that. I would not want to travel to some of these countries, Argentina, Paraguay. I don't like traveling, to be honest with you guys. I'm more of a homebody. I can travel, but once a year, twice a year to go on vacations and things like that. But that would involve a lot of traveling, and that's not for me. Let's see. Did you read the IREN short report? If so, what did you think? Yeah, this was going back now about a month or so. That definitely took a hit on IREN or so. A lot of the stuff was fluff in there. They were stretching a lot of the stuff that they talked about as far as not being able to have HPC AI at the Texas location, which you could do it if you do it right. But IREN also never stated that that's where they're going to be putting the HPC AI. They have those up in Canada right now, and there's just I think they were right that it was a little bit overvalued at that point, which I said that at that point as well. I said, it is overvalued based on the numbers that we were saying there. So I thought a little healthy pullback was going to be good. So I think the short report timed it perfectly, more or less at the peak of where they were overvalued, and definitely brought the stock down. Let's see here. Hank the Tank. Hi, Hank. I'm reading the Cleanspark bought a jet. True thoughts? I have not seen that. Let me know where you're seeing that. If you're seeing that on Twitter or where you're seeing that. Let's see here. High special I feel individual miners is very hard to track and very unpredictable. Hence, the price often deviate from fundamentals a lot. How do you think of WGMI compared to individual miners? I think it's a good get. If you don't want to do the due diligence and you get your own basket of miners, I think WGMI is a great way to go. I have WGMI in my profit sharing plan, the 401k plan. That's in there along with BitQ, and it's done pretty well for me. It hasn't done as well as some of the individual miners that I got into. Like Cleanspark has done the best here out of everything that I have. But WGMI, let me take a look at it here really quick. See where I'm at right now. I haven't looked over the weekend yet. Let me see here. I gotta go to my Google Drive to see that. See where that's stacking up here. So WGMI, I am up on that 148% when I got into it in January of 2023. Cleanspark, I'm up 223% right now, and I've been buying that one since 2022, right? Dollar cost averaging down into it. So that one has done better. I was up like at 400% at Cleanspark at one point, even better than that. So yeah, I think it's a good one to get. It does track pretty well with Bitcoin for the most part. Let's take a look at how it goes against Bitcoin here really quick on it. Close that up, close that as well. Let me see here. Bitcoin. And then let me go back to the screen here on it. Okay, so there's Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the, let's just take a look at maybe the 1 year chart on it. On Bitcoin, there's that one. Let's add in WGMI on top of it. WGMI as well. And let's see, what do we get here? So you can see here that in the last year, WGMI is up 27%, whereas Bitcoin is up, where is it at? 107%? Is that right? 99% roughly from a year ago. So it does not quite perform as well at times. But if we look at year to date as well, let's take a look at that. It's up 2.17% compared to Bitcoin. Then let's take a look at like the 3 months time frame as well. Let's see if it loads though. Come on. There we go. No, it's loading. Why is it so slow today? Not sure why it's slow. There we go. Okay, there's that one. Where's WGMI here? There it is. WGMI on the 3 months has outperformed, right? WGMI is up 19% and Bitcoin's down 3.5%. So there are times where it outperforms, times where it doesn't outperform Bitcoin. Let's throw in some miners in here as well. Let's put in here. What else can we put in here? Let's put in Mara as well. See how that compares to it. Let's put in here Riot, Bitfarms, or let's see, got that one. Do we have Riot in there? Why do I have WGMI in there twice? We'll get rid of that. What else do we want to put in here? Bitfarms. Do we have Bitfarms in there? Nope. We'll put in TerraWolf in there as well. Let's see here. Wolf. What can I compare things all together? Let me get rid of one of these here. You got too many WGMIs in here. Let's put in there Cleanspark as well. CLSK. Okay. So a little bit of a mix here right now. Let me get rid of all the drawings here. Where is it? Hide drawings. There we go. And then let's try hiding the simple moving averages as well. And the VR. Okay, that should make things load a little bit faster. So WGMI here compared to everything else going 1 year out. Still pretty slow loading. There we go. WGMI is actually outperforming Mara, Riot, but it's not outperforming Bitfarms, Wolf, Cleanspark, and Bitcoin in the last year. Year to date, at this point, we can see that WGMI has outperformed Bitfarms, Mara, Riot, not Cleanspark or Wolf. And that one in 6 months out. Well, it's basically 6 months is the year to date, more or less. 3 months, really quick as well. Let's take a look. Come on, load up on me. You would think with gigabyte speed internet, things would load a heck of a lot faster. Okay. Well, we're not getting, but you get the point. Basically, WGMI I think is a good one. It doesn't always outperform Bitcoin and the miners, but in general, I think it's a good basket of miners that they do have in there, and that usually bodes pretty well over the long term. All right, let's get rid of some of the stuff here. All right. Bitfarms, Wolf, Cleanspark as well. Put these back in. Okay. All right, let's go back to Q&A. Ben said Bitfarms will focus on Bitcoin for potentially higher BTC price and will focus on HPC at the end of the cycle, fourth quarter 2025 or first quarter 2026. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because it's going to take them to build out. They don't have any place where they can put HPC AI right now. The only one that they might be able to put it into would be the Pennsylvania facility that they just got this year. But that's going to take time for build out if you're building out a tier 3, tier 4 data center on that side of things. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Any idea about IREN and the lawsuit news being reported? Is that the class action lawsuit against IREN because of the short report? I think it's just lawyers chasing, possibly. We got that also with Hut 8 when that happened. We got that with, I believe, Riot as well, and we got that with, I think, Cleanspark when they had a short report come out on them as well. So it's just lawyers chasing lawsuits on that one. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't think it's going to go really anywhere. I don't think you never know. But I haven't heard anything about the other ones, so I think those go away. Let's see. I'm helping my dad invest in Soluna and Bitcoin miners, putting it on a company balance sheet. Have suggested majority in Soluna, Cleanspark, and 30% in Bitfarms, Coinbase, Iron Wolf. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean that's, geez. I think that's a pretty good. That's not bad. That's actually pretty good. 30% in Bitfarms, depending on what you have in Cleanspark, Coinbase, Iron, and Wolf. I think those are good companies to put into it. Pretty well diversified. Yeah, I have no problems with that one. Let's see. In your estimation, is it now a good time to be loading up on the miners? I got a promotion at work and a lot of spare change to buy stuff. Very nice. Congratulations. Yeah, I can't say for 100% certain that this is right now a good time, but the way I look at it is if you have a dip, you have a red day, a red candle, those to me are buying opportunities, depending where you got in on it and what you think it might do going forward. I think a lot of these miners will do a lot better going forward. Right now, we're in this kind of no man's land where they're trading sideways. So I've been buying. I didn't buy any last week. Did I buy any? No. I don't think I did. No, I did buy Monday. I did buy Monday last week. And then Thursday, the prior week as well. But I gotta scrounge some cash up again to possibly buy in the next couple of weeks. But if I do have cash and I see red days and the stocks that I really like have high conviction in, I will be buying some more. Per Ben's comments, any thoughts on failed Bitmain thermal paste on Bitfarms and IREN rigs? Yeah, I mean, did they just have the wrong amount being applied to them, which a lot of stuff is being automated, right? So was there an issue with the robot, the computer that was programmed to it, or the pump itself? Those are manufacturing defects. There's not much you can do about it other than to replace it and call it a day. But it's great that they were actually able to find out what the issue was. We knew the issue was that they were just getting hot, but what was the reason? And looks like there was a thermal paste. It also could have been an issue with the thermal paste itself, depending on if it wasn't mixed properly or something like that. Maybe that had a bad thing to do with it as well. Hank says it was on Twitter that he's hearing that Cleanspark is getting a jet. I'll take a look into it, see where I can find that out. On that one, let's see. See, Para says, oh, I would definitely not accept anything close to $3. LOL. I was just thinking the 750 million ATM could be gunpowder for another offer. Thanks for the Cleanspark update as well. Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah. Let's see. Could you repeat your take on Cleanspark and what it is about? What it is about? 5:30 a.m. in the Denmark. So just woke up. Cleanspark basically. Well, we talked a lot of things in there. Cleanspark reported they're buying miners or getting rid of old miners. They're reevaluating old miners as well, basically writing those down. If it wasn't for that, their numbers might be actually better, but they decided to do that because I think it was based on the recommendation from their new accounting firm. That's why they were late a day as well. So that's kind of just their numbers. The 26,000 miners they're getting, those are immersion cooled. Those are not the regular hydro miners that Bitmain makes. So I'm not sure about the numbers as far as hash rate and joules per terahash on it. And then also my question for that was, where are they going to put those in? Otherwise, they do appear to be undervalued based on what I'm seeing here right now, based on the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in. Okay. I think they kind of covered that of everything else. Hank says, on X, you're talking about crypto klepto? Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll have to take a look into him. I'll see what he has to say on that and where he's getting that information. What's Cleanspark cost to mine per Bitcoin? It is 28,000 if you take out depreciation in there right now, based on my numbers. I think, what did they report? I can't remember what they reported, but I think they were pretty close. When you sell your miners at your gold prices and become a millionaire, will you invest your money into next? Real estate, gold? Not gold. Gold hasn't done well in the last 10 years. Why would I put it into that? I think there's better things to put it into than gold, to be honest. Possibly real estate is one thing that I'm definitely evaluating right now. I'm looking at maybe some rental properties to buy, things like that. Just seeing where the market is, seeing what's going on with it. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it, see where things go from that point. I may build a couple houses or something like that and sell them, see how that goes, try some new things. Let's see. Okay. Oh, there we go. Para says, easy, Sean, sell 75% of the next cycle and rotate 25% into SBIT 2x short ETF. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. If you think Bitcoin's going to be going down, that's a good way to play it. Charts are broken. To read people saying charts are bullish, need to go back to school. Yeah, I mean, the charts, right now I think we're going to be trading sideways for at least another couple of weeks before things really pick up, maybe after September into October and into November. Let's see. Slow and steady is the way to go with HPC and AI market. Yeah, you got to definitely evaluate everything. If Riot accumulated 20% of Bitfarms and shareholders voted no in October, what do you think Riot will do at that time? Sell or hold for high return? Thanks. Well, yeah, I don't know what the mindset of Jason is at this point, or the company there in general, as far as what they would do. But if you have such a low price on Bitfarms and you think they might do actually well going forward, and then if they have Riot off their backs at that point, me personally, I would hold for a couple more quarters to see where price goes. Even if you can double or triple your money at that point, you're going to be doing much better, I think, than just buying miners right now and trying to. You could possibly buy miners. Would that be more creative? Public or private traded miners, not private traded, private miners. If you bought those out, could that be more creative? Maybe. I don't know. What else we got here? Will Cleanspark sell all those S19s? I would imagine so. Yeah, they're still viable to mine if you have really low cost of energy. So you could still possibly sell them. Roger says weekly labor statistics matter more from this point forward. If the numbers are good and Japanese carry trade unwound is done, then we go up from here, in my opinion. Yeah, that's definitely going to be important there. And then if we also get possibly in September, the rate cuts. I think that also helps risk on assets. Enrico says, thanks, we'll buy some more today. Really appreciate your passion. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely enjoy the miners because they provide all the data. So you just got to keep track of the data and you can see how companies are doing. You can kind of figure out why are they not doing well and stuff like that. Cleanspark delay earnings, which selling off on that news? Which selling? Not sure I get that. Let's see, miners were cheapest in October 2020. I bought working S9 S's for $69, and that's when I first started BTC mining. Yeah, I remember the S9s. I had the regular S9s back in 2017 that we were mining with. Those things were great. Those things were workhorses. They lasted us 5 years, but there were times where we were not mining for like half a year to a year sometimes in the 5 years. So yeah, if you have for $69, yeah, probably. How long did you actually run those for then before they were unprofitable again? Hank asks, how do you think the October vote will go? I'm thinking it's not going to go in. I think it's going to go against Riot, but I could be wrong on that. Just based on if Riot has 20% of the shares and institutions have about 21% of the shares as of just a week ago, that's only 41%. They're going to need a lot of people to be in favor of it, investors, retail investors, I think. Or if there's a bunch of companies that are not listed or reported as being, institutions or something like that own it also. I don't know. Let's see. Enrico says you might want to look into the 18-year cycle that predicted all housing bubbles 10 years in advance. That predicts a crash sometime 2026. This is 18 years since 2008. It has been a while. Yeah, it has been a long time. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, I mean, we'll have to keep an eye on it, see where the industry economy goes. All that stuff is going to definitely play into it. I may just sit on cash at that point. If I make out pretty good, I may sit on cash, but I'm definitely going to pay off my school debt that I have for college, pay off my car, pay off the remodel that I just did in the kitchen, and then get my wife a car. She needs a new car. She has an old car, 10 years old now. So that's going to be the plan there. Everything else, I'll just probably stay in cash for a while if the economy's going to crap. Let's see what here. Thoughts on Bit Digital short-term upside, 300 million market cap with 210 million liquidity, no debt, and 92 million annual revenue from HPC alone, with further HPC revenue to be announced soon. Yeah, I do think that they are undervalued from where they really should be, and that is only because, oh gosh, what was it? They don't own any infrastructure. They're all asset light right now, and I had to silence my phone here. Sorry. Let's see. Okay, phone silence. But yeah, they don't own any infrastructure right now. I wonder if that's having an impact on the stock price and why it's not being valued the way it should be, because the only thing that they own is the servers and the Bitcoin miners right now. And they haven't been really growing with their Bitcoin mining either, so that may be something to do with it. Sebastian, why do you feel everything will be flat now for a few months? I felt like it was a week or so. General consensus was very bullish and huge moves were coming. Just from what, so I talked about this earlier here. Let's see, let's go back to the chart on Bitcoin here really quick. If we look at 1 year chart on Bitcoin and Bitcoin futures here on the CME group, I talked about the gap that we had here happening today, and then this on the daily, yeah. So we have a little bit of a gap here. Last time we had a gap that was to the downside over the weekend was back here. This was back in August, Thursday the 17th of August. We had that gap happen here on the CME futures here. Let's see here. You can see that. That was Thursday, and then what do we have, a holiday on Friday? Friday came down, and then it got filled, but it took a while for it still to go back up until September, or actually October, to get higher above it. So that's kind of where I'm basing that on, seeing that we had that down gap there. I don't know. It could get filled tomorrow as well. If it does get filled, we'll have to see where it ends up going forward. But I'm thinking that right now we're still at the end of the summer time frame, and you guys can't see the screenshot. You guys are looking at me. I did the wrong one. Sorry about that. So here's the gap that we had from August of last year, and then it took a while for things to take off. Typically, like October, November are usually pretty good months for Bitcoin historically. That's kind of what I'm expecting there as well. November, we have the presidential election as well. If we get Trump in, I think that's going to be bullish for Bitcoin as well. So there's just a lot riding on that cycle there that happens. In the meantime, like I said, we might be, if we go up, I'd be more than ecstatic to see that happen. But I'm thinking maybe we'll have a little bit more sideways action before everything is said and done. Based on that, we just saw a drop on the CME gap. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Hi, Seb. How do you feel about your decision not to go 100% all in on Cleanspark last year? Yeah. I mean, you can never tell where things are going to go. I was up 100% on Bitfarms and IREN here just within the last couple of months. It's down now to where I'm like 40, 50% up on those guys right now. I think going forward, I mean, you just can't tell. I knew I wanted to have as much of a position into Cleanspark as I could, but I didn't want to be just in one company, because if they flounder somehow or, get into massive trouble or something like that, that's a lot of money that was invested in them. So that's why I wanted to diversify into like Bitfarms and IREN, and then eventually into CORZ as well. So I can't complain on it. Based on the numbers that I have here and where I think miners will go, I'll still do very well. Maybe not as well as I probably would have if I just went in 100% in on just like maybe Cleanspark altogether. But yeah, I mean, you got to de-risk a little bit. I mean, we're already risky as heck in this space with the miners. You got to de-risk somewhat, I guess. I don't know if it's the best de-risking that is out there, getting more miners. But that's kind of the way I looked at it. Let's see. Question: why do you think people have a misconception about how long it takes to build quality data centers? There's no such thing as a 90-day build out with these data centers. Any thoughts? Depending on the data center that you're looking at, if it's a tier 1, you can probably build that out in 90 days, that's for sure. I mean, unless you have the site and you put in containers at that site that are filled with miners. Okay, you could possibly do that in 90 days. But if you're looking at like anything sizable, tier 3, I mean, you're looking at probably 16, I would say maybe 18 to 24 months at the very least here to build that out. If you can do that even quickly, or if you can get the transformers, the substations, all of that stuff, power run, all of that stuff. I mean, it takes time. Is HUT worth holding or better off swapping to another miner? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't like the fact that we don't have any really growth from them for self-mining. They do have a huge HODL position. They also do managed services, hosting, but their self-mining is something to be desired, I guess you could say. So I don't know how that's going to play out for them going forward, especially when Bitcoin starts going up. Will they be valued more on their HODL position? Could be. Could it be also on their HPC AI, which they do have some data centers that they have customers in that as well? How much of a value will they get for that? I don't know. Hut 8 is like a black hole for me right now, with just having 1/4 of data on them as a combined company with USBTC as well. Okay. Question: at what price will you start selling Cleanspark? Gosh, I don't know if it's going to be on Cleanspark that I'm going to be looking at, or if it's going to be Bitcoin price, where Bitcoin price is at. I would probably start taking profits, maybe in the high 30s, low 40s, maybe somewhere around there. Start taking maybe 5% off here. I just don't know where the top's going to be, so I'm going to start trying to take some profits at that point. Let's see. Thanks for sharing. Very informative. The valuation is based on the expected hash rate achieved at the end of the year. What will happen if the bull market ends before the end of the year? Well, then all those valuations go out the window. And I mean, yeah, that would definitely be a new one for us. It could be. I mean, we had the first time here where we had Bitcoin price get to a new all-time high before the halving event. Could we reach a new all-time high before the cycle ends? Well, it's typically a cycle, at least. Yeah, it could. There's nothing that says it can't. Let's see, price pressure on Hive this bull cycle. Not sure. I don't know. We'll see. Wagwen said, what are your price targets for Bitfarms at IREN, and when you're going to start selling on them? Bitfarms probably, if it gets to above $10, it'll probably start selling slowly, 5% here, 5% there maybe. IREN probably closer to like $45, $50. If we can get there, and depending on where the market goes, all that stuff, it's tough to say right now, but that's kind of where I'll be looking to sell. Let's see. Senna says, IREN faking a lot, but I believe ultimately they will end up attacking. What are your thoughts on another war in the Middle East? Oh, IREN, okay. I thought you were talking about IREN the miner. Mine IREN is a superpower with stronger than other adversaries. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there. Nobody wants to, from what I've seen at least right now, with just what I'm hearing on the conflict there, nobody wants to really get into a major skirmish. They're going to respond to what Israel did with the assassination of, was it Hamas leader or something like that in the country of Iran. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Nobody wants a war there. That's never good for anybody. But sometimes you get egos that get into in place here, which is not good. See, Robert says the S9s that he got ran for a few years. I'm sure they paid for themselves in the first winter. I think they made $8 a day on $3 power. I had a board fail after 6 months, and the other had the PSU fail after 3 years. Okay, so that's not too bad. Yeah, it's $69. That's not hard to recoup your money on it. Let's see. Just to remind all people around, Ben is a true miner, real operator, and if you heard his story and experience he has, you really should be bullish on Bitfarms. That's why I'm bullish on Bitfarms. That's why I was one of the strongest proponents for him to get the CEO position. Let's see. Would you sell Riot based on the new ATM news? So historically, investors look at ATM as a bad thing. I can see why, but I also think there's a counterintuitive to it to actually buy when you hear that, because based on historical, at least with a couple of miners, Cleanspark has diluted like crazy, but their market cap is also, it's where it's at right now. It's the second highest to Marathon, right? So as long as it's accretive to growth to the company and growing their hash rate, I think it's a good thing. And a lot of people at that point panic. They're like, ATM dilution, I'm going to get less. No, that one actually worked out pretty well. Marathon, same thing. That's done really well. So it's just, as long as you get in the right miners that are doing the right things, then I think this could be a good thing. But you also have companies that, dilute just to hodl through the bear market, through the bull run and everything else. And I don't think that's good. So that does hurt sometimes. So I think sometimes it's a good thing, depending on the company. Okay. My guess is that Cleanspark is going to install the new miners into their new Wyoming sites. Thoughts? Yeah, I don't know. Are those immersion cooled? I think they are, or part of it is, but I don't know if they can. I mean, that's 26,000 machines, plus they have an option to buy another, what was in there, another 50,000 machines or something like that, whatever it was, that are immersion as well. Where are they going to put all that stuff? I really want to know. Hank says, you're the best, Sebastian. Thank you for all you do. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming in, Hank. I've known you for a while here. We've also had great conversations here, so appreciate you coming in, buddy. Let's see. Shouldn't you hold the leader best asset in each sector? I have been thinking too about just having 100% in Cleanspark. Yeah, I mean but here's the thing. All you need is somebody that comes out with good news. IREN had a nice run up here. TeraWolf is right now outperforming Cleanspark in the last 52 weeks. So it's tough. Depending when you get into it, I think that makes a big difference also on it. Let's see. Late to the stream, did you already discuss Riot's 150 million ATM? We discussed it a little bit here. They had 200 some odd million left of the old ATM. They canceled that one. Now they got the new 150 million. What are they going to do with it? Maybe buy more Bitfarms shares, use it for growth. All of the above. Yeah. Let's see. How do you feel about the doom and gloomers on X calling for an immediate pending recession and saying that the top is in on BTC and broader markets? I don't agree with them. I don't see the economy doing bad until maybe 2020, end of 2025 to maybe 2026, sometime in that time frame right now. Who was it? I just saw someplace, where was it? Was it on X? I think it was on X, that one of the, oh gosh, who was it? Morgan Stanley, I think. Morgan Stanley or Chase. Their analysts said that they don't see a recession in sight. So I kind of think the same thing right now, but we'll see. Come October, there will be a lot more people buying. Summer is always a strange period. Stocks don't really move, and so is the real estate. Okay, so you're kind of the same opinion that I am, that usually in the fall things will look a little bit better. Let's see. Is good for ATM to expand your operations, but to dilute your share to buy another company? That's crazy. That's what they're all doing here, for the most part. When they're diluting shares, they're buying either public miners or private miners. We've seen a lot more private miners buying than we have in the public space here. But even at that point, I think you need that to grow, whether it's for megawatts, which I don't think Riot has an issue there. I think they just need to build out on it. Let's see. Hi, Seb. So much FUD around the miners. Do you think that it will, if we strip it all back to basics, that once BTC runs, the majority of the miners will be fine? If you believe in BTC, then all will be well. Yeah. And that's kind of my thesis, my premise for getting into the miners, is because I don't know where the bottom is. I don't know where the top is. But historically, if Bitcoin starts ripping, so do the miners. And the miners do outperform Bitcoin. And they do sometimes front run it as well. So that's kind of where I'm into it. But all right. Got up to all you guys' questions here. Thank you, all of you guys, for coming in here. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll probably run through some other metrics over the week here as well. We'll look at which miners were the best in July, which ones are also, or where the miners stand as far as network hash rate comparison. We got a bunch of things we got to look at. And then also we'll look at the quarterly results for some of the miners that are reporting. But in the meantime, like I keep saying every time, be patient, dollar cost averaging if you can. Trade them if you can, if you have the experience and all that stuff. They're very volatile, so it is very appealing to a lot of traders as well. But just be careful out there, and have a great day. Have a great week ahead. We'll see what happens. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll hopefully be starting a little bit earlier, maybe around 9 o'clock, something like that. All right. So until then, have a great night. See you then.